Elon Musk is developing a vehicle that could be a game-changer for space travel. Starship, as it's known, will be a fully reusable transport system capable of carrying up to 100 people to the Red Planet. Today we are going to talk about the SpaceX GENIUS new stage separation system. Stick around for more info. Before we begin, just a quick reminder for you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and also turn on post notifications so you will be notified whenever we upload a video. The Starship is on track to become the most powerful spacecraft ever built. When the two stages were placed for the first time, it reached its full height. The stages, however, will have to fall apart during the Starship's flight. The Starship is made up of two massive stages, the lower stage, commonly known as the rocket, and the super heavy stage. The Super Heavy, which stands at 70 meters, aids the Starship in escaping the Earth's gravitational influence. Everything else pales in comparison. The rocket generates the requisite liftoff force with more than 30 Raptor engines at sea level. The rocket was designed to be reusable, so after completing its mission, it would return to Earth and land using its 4 grid fins to prepare for the next mission launch. The ship, or top stage, is responsible for spaceflight. Although it is roughly 20 meters shorter than the lower stage, this is an equally impressive edifice. It is, however, heavier than the previous step. 6 Raptor engines are used in the moment of separation, which will be revealed on the higher level. It uses a combination of sea level and vacuum propulsion and landing. It will travel to far-flung corners of the universe before landing on Earth. For one, it wants to use it to transport people to Mars in order to establish a permanent human presence on the planet. This will require multiple trips to transport tons of cargo for life support systems ahead of the explorers. He is also considering the more distant planet Jupiter as a possible destination. In NASA's Project Artemis, the spaceship will also be used to lower astronauts to the Moon's surface. The organization also intends to send astronauts to Mars aboard a spaceship at some time in the future, rather than average people. All of these interplanetary journeys, however, will take place only after the ship has disengaged from the extremely heavy booster. The bottom stage of every rocket that transports cargo to orbit is eventually discharged. This is in accordance with physics, as the dead weight of a rocket's empty fuel tank will only slow the spacecraft down if it is not jettisoned. The Starship is no different. When you look at the spaceship, which stands so tall on its mound and appears to be solidly and seamlessly linked, you might wonder how the two stages will separate when the time comes. Other rocket manufacturers design their own separation systems in a more sophisticated and risky way. But not SpaceX, which, according to Musk, who is not hesitant to divulge engineering secrets about his spaceships, is skipping constructing a separation mechanism. To achieve the separation, SpaceX does not contribute anything new to the upper or lower halves of the separation. This stunning information was disclosed during a 3-part interview with YouTuber Everyday Astronaut. The spaceship will begin the separation process by rotating itself using the gimbaling Raptor engines on the Super Heavy. Before the main engine cutoff, the spaceship will introduce angular momentum moments in this manner. The latches between the spacecraft and the Super Heavy will be opened during this time, allowing the two stages to drift apart due to the spinning motion. Because the spacecraft is nearly 5 times heavier than the booster, it will float away in a straight and stable line. After the ship's 6 Raptor engines have been used to settle the propellant with cold gas thrusters, this is where the ship's 6 Raptor engines are fired up. The emancipated ship will set sail after the separation has been accomplished. The Super Heavy will begin its flipping maneuver as it prepares to return to Earth at the same moment. SpaceX uses a similar technology to launch satellites from its Falcon rockets. Due to centripetal forces, the upper stage rotates and the spaceship floats away. SpaceX does not need to devote resources to engineering and constructing a safer pusher spring mechanism capable of launching a 1,300-ton spaceship from a Super Heavy launch vehicle. Because of another design decision made on the ship, the spaceship is able to do so. The nozzles on all 6 Raptor engines are totally covered by a skirt, which protects them from damage caused by the booster's collision during separation. SpaceX is known for avoiding as much complexity as possible in its designs. When they can, the design team eliminates anything that is too time-consuming. When the Super Heavy's grid fins were exposed and their role was explained, many people wondered how the hefty components could be deployed and retracted while still being strong enough to push and drag a rocket weighing hundreds of tons. However, instead of designing a complicated deployment and retraction system to control the car-sized grid fins that weigh tons, SpaceX intended the grid fins on the Super Heavy to be deployed all of the time. Because of the grid fins' simplicity, it was simple to repurpose them for a different purpose, capturing the booster in mid-flight with the launch tower's arms. This is in line with Musk's philosophy of success in all of his endeavors. He follows a set of 5 steps. The first step is to break down the project into needs and simplify them. The requirements are then assigned to a person rather than a department. It makes no difference who handed them to you. It is especially problematic if the requirements were given to you by a wise person because you might not question them well enough. Yes, you may accept it as gospel that you must complete this task. Everyone is mistaken, regardless of who they are. Everyone is mistaken. Step 2 is sometimes to remove an element or procedure, or to cut out what can be done without it. This is quite crucial. You are not leading enough if you do not occasionally add things back in. This is why the pulse quickens. Do not fall down, for example, because that is an extra mechanism we do not need. After completing Step 2, Step 3 simplifies or optimizes the process. As previously said, a clever engineer's most typical blunder is to optimize something that should not exist. The 4th step shortens the cycle time. If you are traveling too slowly, pick up the pace, but only after you have addressed the other 3 issues. The process is automated in Step 5. Another fascinating note about the Starship separation procedure is that it was another SpaceX employee, not Musk, who suggested a design tweak. He or she was successful in persuading Musk to employ the method. So, if you have been thinking of Musk as an autocratic top engineer who does not welcome new ideas and insists on having his way, you are right. You will have to reimagine the illustrious entrepreneur because the situation is exactly the reverse. In the comment section below, tell us what you think of the Starship's insane separation mechanism. SpaceX is a location where both upward and downward ideas can flow. So, how do other rockets detach themselves from their craft? To hold the 2 stages together or separate them, all other rockets use actuation latches or frangible bolts, precisely as the spaceship. Some rockets, particularly Russian rockets, use a technique known as hot staging, in which the higher stage ignites its own engines slightly before or at the same time as the lower stage. The lit engines will blast the lower stage below them downwards when the connecting mechanism is opened. In some rockets, the top stage is separated from the lower stage by a large distance before launching its own rockets into space. This separation stage is a source of added risk for the mission launch and is a very complex operation with smaller vernier thrusters. The more phases there are, the more separations are needed, and the greater the chance of anything going wrong. SpaceX, on the other hand, is completely removing the risk by utilizing a simple separation technique within the spacecraft. After completing test flights with the very heavy booster, we are coming closer to witnessing this play out in real life. The maiden orbital flight of the Starship stacked together is the next milestone for SpaceX. As SpaceX rushes to have their spacecraft ready, this is expected to happen before the end of the year. Pioneers like him changed the world, and we're sure he'll do it literally too, all the way from Earth to Mars. Thank you for joining us today. See you next time.